Om Namo Narayanaya, dear sisters, brothers, and loving children. Om Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvata Sadike Ksharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. The most auspicious among those that are auspicious. O the one that grants the fulfillment of all prayers, O the one refuge of all, to you, consort of Shiva, known also as Trayambaka and Gauri, O Narayani, our salutations. It brings me immeasurable joy on behalf of the officials of the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa, Johannesburg Sub-Center, to extend a very warm and cordial welcome to each of you to today's online program commemorating the auspicious occasion of Vijayadashami. Worship of the Divine Mother is one of the oldest forms of worship known to humanity. In prehistoric times, God was worshipped as the Divine Mother all over the world. Evidence of mother worship has been recorded in different places in Europe, America, Africa, and Asia. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, "To look upon God as mother is the purest and the highest form of sadhana." Why did he say that? Because a mother's love is the most unselfish and unconditional form of human love. To look upon God as mother is to make God all-sufficient in one's life. The center has been actively providing COVID-19 welfare services to indigent families, hospices, and needy homes since the commencement of South Africa's national lockdown. Over the past 18 months, the center has provided in excess of 20 tons of food items, consumables, fruits and vegetables to impacted communities in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. In addition, the center has embarked on a milestone project to build an ashrama complex in the name of our great master, Sri Ramakrishna. And we feel blessed to announce that by Master's grace, we have received communication from the Johannesburg municipality that our rezoning application has been approved. We humbly appeal to all devotees, well-wishers, and donors for your support as we take our next step in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of building an ashram. If you would like to donate or participate by offering your skills in any of these activities, please send us a message with your email address and contact number on the live chat or by emailing the Johannesburg Sub-Center on johannesburg@ramakrishna-phoenix.org.za. We will now commence with today's program.
न मन्त्रम् नो यन्त्रम् तदपि च न जाने स्तुतिमहो न चाह्वानम् ध्यानम् तदपि च न जाने स्तुतिकथाः न न जाने मुद्रास्ते तदपि च न जाने विलपनम् परं जाने मातस्त्वदनुसरणं क्लेशहरणम् विधेरज्ञानेन द्रविणविरहेणालसतया विधेया शक्यत्वात् तव चरणयोर्याच्युतिरभूत् तदेतत्क्षन्तव्यम् जननि सकलोद्धारिणि शिवे कुपुत्रो जायेत क्वचिदपि कुमाता न भवति पृथिव्याम् पुत्रास्ते जननि बहवः सन्ति कृतिनः परं तेषाम् मध्ये विरलतरलोऽहं तव सुतः मदीयोऽयं त्यागः समुचितमिदं नो तव शिवे कुपुत्रो जायेत क्वचिदपि कुमाता न भवति जगन्मातर्मातस्तव चरणसेवा न रचिता न वा दत्तं देवि द्रविणमपि भूयस्तव मया तथापि त्वं स्नेहं मयि निरुपमय्यत् प्रकुरुषे कुपुत्रो जायेत क्वचिदपि कुमाता न भवति परित्यक्त्वा देवान् विविधविधिसेवाकुलतया मया पञ्चाशीतेरधिकमपनीते तु वयसि इदानीं चेन्मातस्तव यदि कृपा नापि भविता निरालम्बो लम्बोदरजननि कैयामि शरणम् श्वपाको जल्पाको भवति मधुपाकोपमगिरा निरातङ्को रङ्को विहरति चिरङ्कोटिकनकैः तवापर्णे कर्णे विशति मनुवर्णे फलमिदम् जनः को जानीते जननि जपनीयम् जपविधौ चिताभस्मालेपो गरलमशनम् दिक्पटधरो जटाधारी कण्ठे भुजगपतिहारी पशुपतिः कपाली भूतेशो भजति जगदीशैकपदवीम् भवानि त्वत्पाणि ग्रहणपरिपाटी फलमिदम् न मोक्षस्याकाङ्क्षा न च विभववाञ्छापि च न मे न विज्ञानापेक्षा शशिमुखि सुखेच्छापि न पुनः अतस्त्वां संयाचे जननि जननैयातु मम वै मृडानी रुद्राणी शिव शिव भवानीति जपतः नाराधितासि विधिना विविधोपचारैः किं रूक्षचिन्तनपरैर्न कृतं वचोभिः श्यामे त्वमेव यदि किञ्चन मय्यनाथे धत्से कृपामुचितमम्ब परन्तवैव आपत्सु मग्नस्मरणं त्वदीयम् करोमि दुर्गे करुणार्णवेशी नैतच्छटत्वं मम भावयेथाः क्षुधा तृषार्ता जननीं स्मरन्ति जगदम्ब विचित्रमत्र किं परिपूर्णा करुणास्ति चेन्मयि अपराधपरम्परावृतम् न हि माता समुपेक्षते सुतम् मत्समः पातकी नास्ति पापघ्ने त्वत्समानहि एवं ज्ञात्वा महादेवी यथा योग्यं तथा कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा महादेवी यथा योग्यं तथा कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा महादेवी यथा योग्यं तथा कुरु।
ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय Ramakrishnaaya te namaha. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the program of Puja of Divine Mother Durga. Today is the last day. The Navaratri is almost over. Now today is the day of victory, Vijaya Dashami. On that day there will be no special puja, it is all Visarjana puja. So today in Belur Math and other places too, the puja will be very simple, like Dashopchar puja. We will come back to the Dashopchar puja. That is the 10 items, and a simple puja will be done. But the Visarjana, mother will be immersed in the water, which indicates that we will be taking Mother, Divine Mother, back into our heart. We have sent out the consciousness from our own heart into the image, worshipped her there, she took the form. Now we will be taking her back and worship her all through the year. So that is the significance of the immersion. Now we should be going back to the formlessness, and we will establish her in our own heart and worship the Divine Mother. So now, without any delay, we will go into the process of the Shopchar Puja. So we shall go and do the puja of Mother, who has come out victorious, killing all the great demons like Mahishasura and other people. Now in the Dashopchar Puja, we can see that Pita Devata, Pita Shakti of in the heart is established. Now the Rishyadinyasa is being done. Now the Rishyadinyasa is being performed. Pita Devata Puja is done in your heart. Now Rishyadinyasa is being done. Now Karanyasa, purification of the hand, and the Anganyasa of the limbs will be done. Then the purification of the total consecration, that is the whole body, will be done. Vyapakanyasa. Now the Pita Devata, where the Mother is established, is being done. You can also worship the Pita, where Divine Mother's image is there, or the Kalash, or even the photo, wherever you are worshipping, by flowers. Now Anganyasa, Karanyasa is again performed. Now the meditation mantra. You can start meditating in your heart, bringing the form of Divine Mother, beautiful form of Divine Mother in your heart, effulgent, smiling form of Mother, very happy to come to your heart and bless you. As you are meditating, you can feel all the diseases, all the pain, all the other problems or negative energies are going away. You are becoming bright and light. Mother is so happy and staying in your heart. You can ask for any boon, any desires, she will fulfill it now. You can ask Mother who is established in your heart now for any desire. After that we will bring her to the image and worship her. Now pray to her, meditate on her. While the meditation mantra is being told, you can meditate on her. Ask whatever boon you want. The effulgent form of Mother Durga is there in your heart now.
Sapashvamahastena Tritakeşam ca Durgaya Vamaturudhiravatram ca Divyasingham Pradarshay Divyastu Dakshinam Padam Samam Singho Paristhitam Kinchidurdham Tatha Vamam Angushtham Mahishopari Prasannavadanam Devim Sarvakama Phalapradam Shatrukshayakarin Devin Daityadanabadarvaham Stuyamanam ca Tatrupam Amarai Sanniveshai Ugra Chanda Prachanda ca Chandogra Chandanaika Chanda Chandavati Chaiva Chandarupati Chandika Abhi Shakti Virashtabhi Satatam Pariveshtitam Chintaye Jagatam Dhatri Dharmakamarthamokshadam.
Now the meditation is over. We are now established a Mother in the image from your heart. Now you will start the Padyam. You are giving water to wash the feet of Mother. Padya. You very softly, gently wash the feet of the Mother. Wipe it with a soft cloth. Then after the Padya, it is the Arghya. You are giving water to wash the hands of the Mother. And also Bilvapatra with sandal paste and Akshata, that is rice, and also the Durva grass and the flower. All together is Arghya, that is indicative of your total mind. You are giving, surrendering yourself to Mother with Arghya. After the Arghya, it is Achmaniyam. You can give Achmaniyam, that is water to rinse the mouth of Mother. After the Achmaniyam, it is Snaniyam. Today the puja will be simple. Now it is Snaniyam. You will give water for bathing. First it will be pure water, Ganga water. You will be bathing Mother. After that, you can give the different 5 items. Now you can bathe Mother with milk, then after that with the curds, then you can give the bath of ghee, that is the clarified butter. Then after that you can give the bath of honey. Then you will be giving the bath of sugar. The 5 Panchamrita is over. The ghee, water, bath can be given. Feel that Mother is just like a small baby and you are giving bath to Mother very gently, very carefully. You can put some soap or something so that the milk, curds, ghee will be taken out from the body. After that, again pure water bath can be given gently. Then wipe it with a very soft towel. Mother is accepting your bath, the service of bath, just like a small daughter or baby of your house. Now after that, after wiping the body of Mother, you can give cloth. You can put on a new cloth, a beautiful cloth on the body of person of Mother. The new cloth you have. Then after that you will be giving different abharanas, that is the different golden ornaments. You can give golden ornaments. After the putting of the golden ornaments on the person of mother, you can give even accessories like comb, mirror, offer it to mother. Then kajal, that is the eye black collyrium. After that you can apply to the whole body of mother sandalwood, which is very cooling in effect. You can give sandalwood now, apply the sandalwood, which is a moisturizer and also keeps the skin very cool. Then you can decorate mother very nicely with sindura, vermilion on the head, comb her hair very nicely, show her face in the mirror and make her happy. So after that you can make ready the flowers pushpa to be offered. You can dip that or smear that pushpa with sandalwood to indicate that you are giving everything with devotion. Now we'll be offering flowers to mother, pushpani. After the pushpa, get ready with the bilva patra, the bilva leaf, smear it with sandal paste to show your devotion, and then you can offer bilva patra as many you have at the feet of the mother. Then after the bilva patra, you can offer pushpa malya, that is garland. So garland of various flowers, put some good scent to it. Also apply the sandal paste for good fragrance and put that beautiful garland around the neck of the mother, and you can see the beauty of mother after the garland is put around her. You can show the mirror too, so that mother will be happy by your service, by the decoration you have done. Then after that pushpamalyam, you can get ready dhupa, that is the agarbatti, incense sticks. You can light it and start waving, ringing the bell, offering the agarbatti to mother. So after the dhupa you can get ready the deepa. So now you can wave the lamp around mother. After waving the deepa, the lamp offering aratrikam, you can take it as prasad and also give it to others who are around you. After the deepa, you can open up the naivedya covered with plate or something. You can open it and keep it in front of mother, the fruits and sweets and other things. Whatever you have offered, whatever you have prepared, then put either bilva patra, or you can put flowers, or if you don't have that, you can put Ganga water, sprinkle Ganga water to purify that. And now feel that you are feeding mother with your own hands with great love and devotion. You are feeding mother all that items with great love and affection. Feed the daughter of your house with great care all the items. Also ask mother, is she happy by eating all those things? Then after that you can give water for drinking for mother, and also fruit juices, different varieties of juices can be given to mother. So after that give water for rinsing the mouth of the mother. So after the Punarachamaniyam, that is water to again to water rinse the mouth of mother, you can give Tambulam, that is the pan leaf. You can apply very little chung. If you put more, it may burn the tongue of the mother. So you can cut small pieces of betel nuts so that it should be not big for her to chew it. Then you can apply some spices like elachi, cardamom and other things, dry fruits, and also can put to sweeten it, you can put some gulkan or dried cherries. Then fold that pan very nicely and feed it to mother. So after the pan you can start giving Pushpanjali, that is bilva, then flowers, then dhuva, whatever you have. You can offer it 3 or 4 times. So after the Pushpamala, that is Pushpanjali, almost the puja is over. So you can be treating and talking to mother, praying to mother in whatever way you want. You can be doing japa now. You can start doing the japa, the Guru mantra or the mantra of the Durga can be chanted now. And after that we will be telling the japa samarpana mantra. Then finally after the japa, you can 108 japa, you can do the Sashtanga Pranam to Mother. Now slowly you can do the japa with great love towards Mother and also praying to Mother.
नैवेद्यं विविधं देवी शर्करादिविनिर्मितं मया निवेदितं भक्त्या गृहाण परमेश्वरी इदं सोपकरणनैवेद्यम् ॐ दक्षयज्ञविनाशिन्यै महाघोरायै योगिनी कोटि परिवृतायै भद्रकाल्यै ह्रीं ॐ दुर्गायै नमः। ॐ दक्षयज्ञविनाशिन्यै महाघोरायै योगिनी कोटि परिवृतायै भद्रकाल्यै ह्रीं ॐ दुर्गायै इदं नारिकेलोदकम् ॐ दक्षयज्ञविनाशिन्यै महाघोरायै योगिनी कोटि परिवृतायै भद्रकाल्यै ह्रीं ॐ दुर्गायै नमः। इदं पुनराचमनियुदकम् ॐ दक्षयज्ञविनाशिन्यै महाघोरायै योगिनी कोटि परिवृतायै भद्रकाल्यै ह्रीं ॐ दुर्गायै नमः। इदं ताम्बूलमं दक्षयज्ञविनाशिन्यै महाघोरायै योगिनी कोटि परिवृतायै भद्रकाल्यै ह्रीं ॐ दुर्गायै नमः। ॐ गुह्याभिगुह्यगोप्तात्वं गृहाणासंस्कृतं जपं सिद्धिर्भवतु मे देवी तत्प्रसादात् माहेश्वरी। जयन्ती मंगला काली भद्रकाली कपालिनी दुर्गा शिवा क्षमा धात्री स्वाहा स्वधा नमोस्तुते। एष सचन्दन पत्र पुष्पाञ्जलि ॐ दक्षयज्ञविनाशिन्यै महाघोरायै योगिनी कोटि परिवृतायै भद्रकाल्यै ह्रीं ॐ दुर्गायै नमः। जयन्ती मंगला काली भद्रकाली कपालिनी दुर्गा शिवा क्षमा धात्री स्वाहा स्वधा नमोस्तुते। एष सचन्दन पत्र पुष्पाञ्जलि ॐ दक्षयज्ञविनाशिन्यै महाघोरायै योगिनी कोटि परिवृतायै भद्रकाल्यै ह्रीं ॐ दुर्गायै नमः। सर्वमङ्गलमङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोस्तुते। सृष्टि स्थिति विनाशानां शक्तिभूते सनातनि गुणाश्रये गुणमये नारायणि नमोस्तुते। शरणागत दीनार्त परित्राणपरायणे सर्वस्यार्ति हरे देवी नारायणि नमोस्तुते। प्रणतानां प्रसीदत्वं देवी विश्वार्तिहारिणि त्रैलोक्यवासिनामित्यै लोकानां वरदा।
Now the puja is over.
जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती शरणागत प्रतिपालनहारी शरणागत प्रतिपालनहारी जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती। चन्द्रबिम्ब समवदन विराजे चन्द्रबिम्ब समवदन विराजे शशि मुकुट माला गलधा बिम्बसमवदनविराजे शशिमुकुटमाला गलधारी जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती श्वेतवसन कमलासन सुंदर श्वेतवसन कमलासन सुंदर संग सखी शुभ हंस सवारी श्वेतवसन कमलासन सुंदर संग सखी शुभ हंस सवारी जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती ब्रह्मानंद मैं दास तुम्हारो ब्रह्मानंद मैं दास तुम्हारो दे दर्शन पर ब्रह्म दुलारी ब्रह्मानंद मैं दास तुम्हारो दे दर्शन पर ब्रह्म दुलारी जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती शरणागत प्रतिपालनहारी जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती जय जगदीश्वरी जय जगदीश्वरी जय जगदीश्वरी माता सरस्वती
On the auspicious occasion of Navaratri, I am grateful to Swami Satma Ramanandaji of Ramakrishna Center of South Africa, Johannesburg, for inviting me to speak on the glory of the Divine Mother. Navaratri is also called Durga Puja, a major festival held in honor of the Divine Mother. Navaratri occurs over 9 days during the month of Ashwin, that is September-October. When we start a religious text or a spiritual topic, it is customary to begin and end a work with some propitiatory expression. That's why in Sanskrit we read, Arambhe Mangalam Vapi, Samaptavapi Mangalam. One should do Mangalam both at the beginning and at the end. So let us chant a mantra from Durga Saptashti. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Shiva Shama Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute. Navaratri is celebrated as the Durga Puja festival in West Bengal. While I am speaking to you, preparations are going on for the celebrations of Durga Puja both in Belur Math and elsewhere. It is the most important annual festival at Belur Math. It is also a major social and public event in eastern and northeastern states of India, where it dominates the religious life. If you happen to visit Calcutta around this time, you will see thousands of pandals of various sizes being built in public parks or roadside to celebrate this grand event. Durga Puja festival marks the victory of the goddess Durga in the battle against the deceptive and powerful buffalo called Mahishasura. The festival begins with Mahalaya, when many Hindus remember the loved ones who have died, as well as the advent of the warrior goddess Durga. The next significant day of Durga Puja is called Shashti, that is the sixth day, on which the devotees welcome the goddess Durga and festive celebrations are inaugurated. On the 7th, 8th and 9th day, Durga, along with Lakshmi, Saraswati, Ganesha and Kartikeya, are worshipped with religious fervor. These days mark the main puja, which is performed by the recitation of the Devi Mahatma and social visits by families to temples and pandals. On the 10th day, also known as Vijayadashmi, a great procession is held where clay statues of Durga are ceremoniously taken to a river for a solemn goodbye. Many mark their faces with vermilion or dress in red clothes. It is an emotional day for some devotees. They sing emotional goodbye songs. After the procession, Hindus distribute sweets, gifts, and visit their friends and family members. Chandi, the terrible form of the goddess, is the main deity of the famous Devi Mahatma. This sacred text depicts how she fights and destroys the greatest demons. As Chandi, the destroyer of opposition, she can be invoked for removing obstacles in our spiritual life. In Devi Mahatma, Chandi, Chandika, Ambika and Durga have been used synonymously. Devi Mahatma narrates the three tales of Chandika fighting and destroying the evil forces in the forms of Madhu and Kaitaba, Dhumra Lochana, Chanda and Munda, Raktabija, Shumbha and Nishumbha, and finally Mahishasura. Worship of the Divine Mother is one of the oldest forms of worship known to humanity. In Bengal, worship of God as Mother attained the highest form and has become the dominant faith and practice of the people. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, to look upon God as mother is the purest and the highest form of sadhana. Why did he say that? Because mother's love is the most unselfish and unconditional form of human love. For a child, mother is all in all. To look upon God as mother is to make God be all and end all of one's life. It's a very natural, intimate, and purest form of relationship. Worship of God as mother has prevailed in India from prehistoric times. In the Rig Veda, there is a wonderful hymn known as Devi Suktam, in which the Divine Mother declares that she moves with the Rudras, Vasus, Adityas, and all other gods, and she is the queen of the whole world. Devi Mahatma is a sacred book of the Hindus. To those who worship God as mothers, it is the most important text. It contains 700 mantras and hence is called Durga Saptashati. Since it narrates the glory of the goddess Chandi, the book is also called Chandi. It is next only to the Bhagavad Gita in popularity. It is considered very effective in conferring worldly prosperity when read with devotion and proper rituals. When pleased with the worship, the goddess bestows liberation on the devotee. Thus, to attain worldly success and final liberation, the worship of Durga through the formal reading of her glories contained in this book is considered very effective. The Devi Mahatma forms a part of the Markandeya Purana. The 13 chapters from this book form the Devi Mahatma. It is a dialogue between the sage Sumedas and the fugitive king Surata and a merchant driven out of his house named Vaishya Samadhi. The king and the Vaishya fell on evil days and they approached the king Sumedas for redress and their miseries. The sage told them the glories of Durga and advised them to perform penance and worship. The Devi appeared and granted the boons they wished. So accordingly, the Vaishya sought liberation and the king asked for the restoration of his kingdom in this life and unhindered kingship in the next life. The Vaishya attained liberation and the king is waiting for gradual liberation. Another authoritative book on Shakti worship is Devi Bhagavatam. Worship of the Mother's Divine Mother is prevalent all over. In fact, there is hardly any place in India which does not have a temple dedicated to the goddess. Great heroes of the past worshipped the Divine Mother. Sri Rama is said to have worshipped Durga before killing Ravana. Shivaji, the great Maratha king, was a votary of Bhavani. Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Guru of the Sikhs, is also said to have been a worshipper of Mother Durga. Although the Divine Mother is only one, her manifestations are many. She was mostly pictured as riding a lion, Simha Vahini. This is the image of Durga we find in the Chandi, where she appears as Chamundeshwari and Mahishasura Mardini. In later centuries, the Divine Mother came to be regarded as the spouse of Lord Shiva. Here again, there are two schools. In one school, the Divine Mother and Shiva are regarded as equal, in power. In the other school, the Divine Mother as Kali is regarded as the dynamic principle and Shiva is a passive principle. The Divine Mother is also known as Dasha Mahavidya, having 10 great wisdom forms. These 10 forms are Kali, Tara, Tripura Sundari, Bhuvaneshwari, Bhairavi, Chinnamasta, Dhumavati, Baglamukhi, Matangi, that is Saraswati, and lastly Kamala, that is Lakshmi. The most striking aspect of Durga Puja is the image of the Divine Mother as Mahishasuramardini. Here, the Divine Mother is seen as having 10 arms, each having a weapon. Once the image is consecrated and the deity is invoked in it, it undergoes a transfiguration. It is no longer a clay image, but the living goddess. It radiates power, knowledge, love, and joy. Several mythological legends have commingled to form the basis of Durga Puja. Before fighting Ravana, Sri Ramachandra was advised by Narada to propitiate Devi Durga. According to Hindu mythology, during the 6 months of the sun's southward journey, the gods remained asleep. So Rama had to awaken the goddess first. This is why the first ritual in Durga Puja is Bodhan, that is awakening of Durga. The second legend is about the coming of Devi Uma from her abode in Kailash to the home of her parents and stay with the people for 3 days. The third legend is about Devi Sati. Although neither Sati nor Uma is mentioned in the Chandi, in the Mool Mantra used in Durga Puja, Shri Durga is addressed as Daksha Yajna Vinashini, the destroyer of Daksha's sacrifice. The most important legend which is central to Durga Puja is about Durga. The word Durga literally means one who protects, one who destroys the evil consequences of our actions. Durgati Nashini. Devi is also referred to in this book as the power of Vishnu, that is Vishnu Maya, and it is also addressed as Narayani repeatedly. The Chandi is divided into 3 parts. In the first part, Devi appears as Mahamaya and kills Madhu and Kaitabha. In the second part, Devi appears as Mahishasuramardini. When Mahishasura attacked gods, they went to Shiva and Vishnu and complained about the atrocities of Mahishasura. Hearing this, Vishnu, Shiva, and other presiding deities became angry. The rays of their anger combined to form a supremely powerful and dazzlingly bright female being, the Devi, known also as Chandika and Ambika. Devi cut off the head of Mahishasura, who had the form of a buffalo. In the third part of the book, Devi appears first as Parvati, and then out of her form there arises another form known as Kalika. In this form, the Divine Mother cut off the heads of Chanda and Munda and came to be known as Chamunda. Later, she destroyed 2 brothers, Shumbha and Nishumbha. The frightening scene depicted by the image of Durga killing evil doers and drenching the earth with blood may be enigmatic and repulsive to some people. A mature understanding of the divine in the context of the real situations in real life and society is necessary to understand the true significance of Chandi. The main purpose of Chandi is to glorify Shakti. The feminine principle has two aspects, a lower, that is, a seductive aspect, and a higher, maternal aspect. It is the higher maternal aspect that is glorified in the Chandi. She protects people from dangers and punishes evildoers. We generally tend to associate Godhead only with love and compassion. We forget that Godhead has also an aspect of power, terror, and destruction. It was this destructive aspect of Godhead that Shri Krishna showed Arjuna through the Vishwarupa Darshana revelation. What we find in the Chandi is the same terrible aspect but associated with the eternal feminine. Durga Puja was first celebrated at Belur in 1901. It was Swami Vivekananda himself who started the first Durga Puja with the image at Belur. As a rule, Hindu sannyasis do not conduct this kind of ritualistic worship. Why then did Swamiji start the new tradition? One reason was to gain the acceptance of the local community for the new way of life that Swamiji and his monastic brothers were leading. The Hindu society in Calcutta had not fully accepted Swamiji's going to the West and the rather unconventional ways of life at Belur, which included disregard for caste rules and mixing with Western people. As a matter of fact, the celebration of Durga Puja helped to remove much of the misunderstanding and misgivings about the new monastic institution among the local people. Another reason was Swamiji wanted to institutionalize respect for divinity of motherhood and sanctity of womanhood. Swamiji saw that one of the main reasons for the advancement of Western women was the elevation of women in the West, and one of the main reasons for the backwardness of India was the neglect of women in this country. Worship of the Divine Mother, especially the Kumari Puja, would create the awareness of the potential divinity of women and a respectful attitude towards them. A third reason was supernatural. A few days before Durga Puja in 1901, Swamiji had a vision of Durga Puja being done at Belur. More or less, at that time, Swami Brahmanandaji saw in a vision Mother Durga coming across the Ganga from Dakshineshwar to Belur. Swamiji asked Raja Maharaj to make preparations for Durga Puja immediately, although only a few days were left to begin the puja. The main problem was to get a clay image for worship. Inquiries at the local market, where artisans make clay images, revealed that there was a single beautiful image of Durga in a shop. The person who had ordered it had not turned up, and so the artisan agreed to sell it to the monks. Apart from the image, a lot of other things had to be collected for the elaborate ritualistic worship. Under able direction of Swami Brahmanandaji, everything was done well at short notice. The first Durga Puja at Belur was conducted in a huge pandal on the open ground to the north of Old Shrine. The pujari was Brahmachari Krishnalal and the Tantradharak was Ishwar Chandra Chakravarti, the father of Shashi Maharaj. When Swamiji decided to celebrate Durga Puja at Belur, one of the first things he did was to seek the approval of Holy Mother Shri Sharada Devi, who was then staying at Bagh Bazar in Calcutta. Swami Premananda went to Mother, and Mother wholeheartedly approved the proposal. On Shashti day, she came with other women devotees and stayed at Neelambar Babu's garden house nearby. Mother attended the awakening ceremony that day and attended the puja on all the 3 subsequent days. Since sannyasins cannot undertake this kind of ritualistic worship, Swamiji decreed that the puja should be done in the name of Holy Mother. This became a tradition which continues to this day. Swamiji looked upon Shri Sharda Devi as the divine counterpart of Shri Ramakrishna, born for the awakening of womanhood in the modern world. In a letter to Swami Shivananda, written in 1894 from America, Swamiji had given expression to this conviction about the divinity of Holy Mother as follows. Brother, I shall show how to worship the living Durga, Jivanta Durga, and then only shall I be worthy of my name. I shall be relieved when you have purchased a plot of land and established there the living Durga. So you can understand how much regard he had for Shri Sharda Devi. The presence of Holy Mother, the living Durga, during the puja must have given boundless joy and satisfaction to Swamiji and the other disciples of Shri Ramakrishna. Holy Mother attended the Durga Puja at Belur in 1912 and in 1916 and perhaps in some other years also. Each time, Mother stayed for a few days and blessed her monastic and lay children. The Divine Mother depicted so well in the Vedas and Puranas has found expression once again in Holy Mother Shri Sharda Devi. Her life is virtually a saga of a mother's love. Love without any discrimination between high and low, rich and poor, good and evil. She is a real mother who, to all those came to her in her lifetime and to all who are yet to come to her. She is the supreme goddess and guru. She was aware of her cosmic self and manifested it for the benefit of her children, assuring them of continuous protection. A divine drama on the advent of Sri Ramakrishna took place in the 19th century. Later, Swami Vivekananda explained this drama to his disciples, Sister Nivedita Sarabul and Josephine MacLeod, during their travels in the Himalayas in 1898. And he says to them, you see, there was a feminine something somewhere that wanted to manifest, but in some ways it was desirable to manifest as a man, and that something became Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And that's why he always spoke of himself as my Divine Mother. Interestingly, in 1847, Rani Rasmani made arrangements to go on a pilgrimage to Varanasi with her family. The night before they were to start out from Calcutta, the Rani had a dream in which Goddess Kali commanded her to build a temple on the bank of the Ganga, install her image, and arrange for a daily worship. The devout Rani cancelled her pilgrimage, looked for a plot of land, and found a suitable one on the Ganga at Dakshineshwar. A black stone image of Kali was made and laid in a packing box awaiting installation. Again, the goddess appeared in the Rani's dream, commanding her to install her image without delay, as she was not comfortable in the box. When the image was taken out of the box, it was covered with moisture as though a living being was perspiring. The installation ceremony took place in May 1855. It was at that time that the great feminine power brought Ramkumar and Sri Ramakrishna to her temple at Dakshineshwar. The duty of worshipping the image of Kali in the temple soon fell upon Sri Ramakrishna. The Divine Mother, in the form of Sri Ramakrishna, discovered the living presence of the Mother in the stone image. Sister Nivedita once asked Swami Vivekananda, "I always look upon Sri Ramakrishna as an incarnation of Kali. Isn't that what the future will call him?" Swamiji replied, "Yes, I think there is no doubt that Kali worked out the body of Sri Ramakrishna for her own ends." What were her own ends? Judging from our limited human viewpoint, in these times when humanity is afflicted by religious disharmony and sectarianism, the purposes were first to demonstrate that all religions lead to the same goal. This eliminates conflicts between followers of different religions. Kali made Sri Ramakrishna undergo all types of spiritual practices enjoined in the scriptures of Hinduism and other religions as well. Second, to practice Vedanta and preach it as a universal religion through Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda had natural inclination to remain in meditation. Had he remained in that state, how he could have done Mother's work? This would be possible only when he accepted Mother Kali, the power that determined the destiny of everything. It took long 6 years for Sri Ramakrishna to break Vivekananda's resistance to accept Mother Kali. Swamiji himself says that he used to hate Kali and her ways and had to fight for 6 years with his Guru. Sri Ramakrishna ultimately dedicated him to her. Thus, the great feminine power entered and worked through Swami Vivekananda to spread the message of Vedanta in a new light. The power also worked through him to establish a new kind of monastic order for Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukhaya. This great feminine power that manifested itself as Sri Ramakrishna also manifested itself in another, a feminine form, to bestow this all-embracing love of Mother Sharda on all and on one and all. Sri Ramakrishna's first intimation about the true nature of Sharda Devi was when he was talking about spiritual matters to a group of women devotees, including Sharda, then a teenager, gathered around him at Kamarpukur. The women noticed that Sharda had dozed off and were about to awaken her. But he discouraged them, saying, if Sharda hears this spiritual discourse, she would straightway leave for her own abode, the source where she had come to this earth. Later, in Dakshineshwar, he was to worship her as Shodashi, an aspect of Divine Mother. During his days in Dakshineshwar, he was anxious to see that the Divine Mother in her be awakened. Before leaving the world, he gave her the responsibility of carrying out his unfinished mission in his last days on earth. Sri Ramakrishna told her that she would have to do much more than he had done. He left her behind to spread the ideal of womanhood. Sharda Devi reached out to all with a mother's love and gave refuge to all types of people without discrimination. Men and women, monks and householders, high and low, virtuous and wicked. Her motherly love extended to even animals and birds. In fact, she herself is present in all. Sri Ramakrishna saw Mother Kali in a cat and fed her with luchis intended for offering to the deity in the temple. But Mother told her attendant at Jairambati to take care of the cat and not to beat it, since, as she said, identifying her with Mother Kali, I am in the cat also. For Sri Ramakrishna, Mother Kali was the object of his worship, whereas Sri Sharda Devi identified herself with Mother Kali. The Divine Mother manifested herself through these two personalities. In one, she played the part of the spiritual aspirant seeking God through intense practice of all forms of sadhana known to the human race. Ultimately, Sri Ramakrishna could not find his I in himself, but only the Divine Mother. On the other hand, in Sharda Devi, the Divine Mother came down to the human level in human form. She, being the mother of this universe, is the cause and also the effect of this creation. There is nothing beside her. She is the worshipper, Sri Ramakrishna, and she is the worshipped Divine Mother, whom he found in himself losing his I. It seems this manifestation of hers in the human form of Sri Sharda Devi is aimed at bringing home the Advaita philosophy to ordinary mortals through the path of emotion. By Jnana Yoga, only a handful with a sharp intellect and a pure heart may realize Brahman, transcending all duality. Those endowed with pure devotion approach God through various dualistic paths according to their emotional inclinations. In both, we see Purushakara, man's efforts to realize God's aspects, with or without form. We also hear of Kripa, that is God's grace, which He grants when pleased with the aspirant's spiritual efforts or devotion. It is said that He protects the righteous and punishes the wicked. But what do we see in Sharada Devi? The Divine Mother in human form accepts and embraces all with her unbounded love. None is excluded from that love, not even the wicked or the sinner. Sharada Devi said, Am I not the mother? If the child gets dirty, I have to clean and wipe him and take him on my lap. Hence, there is no question of grace. It is her responsibility. She opened the gate to liberation for all, without discrimination, unstintingly, but never tested the eligibility of a disciple while giving initiation. Out of compassion, she accepted all those who approached her, assuring them salvation. She did japa for hours and hours on behalf of those who, after receiving a mantra from her, did not care to do japa regularly or never did it at all. Not only did she look after the spiritual welfare of her children, she also looked upon their physical welfare. It was her nature to feed everyone who came to her house at any time with the tenderness of their own mother. Sri Ramakrishna's performance of Shodashi Puja was of utmost significance in the life of Sri Sharda Devi. Such an event was unprecedented in history. Though in the Devi Mahatma of the Markandeya Purana, it is said, Striyaha Samasta Sakala Jagatsu, the Divine Mother is present in all feminine forms. Such recognition has never been given to women. On the contrary, spiritual aspirants considered women as enmeshing objects of enjoyment and the gateway to hell. Narakasya Dwaram. Sri Ramakrishna removed this erroneous idea, and particularly by his performance of the Shodashi Puja, the puja revealed the presence of a great potential power in women. If that power is applied to God's realization, it manifests the highest perfection of mind and intellect. At the culmination of 12 long years of austerities, Sri Ramakrishna performed the Shodashi Puja, in which he offered the entire fruit of his sadhana at the feet of Sharda Devi. Sri Ramakrishna always looked upon Holy Mother as a part of the Universal Mother or as Brahman. He was convinced that the Divine Mother had graciously enabled him to pass the test and that his mind was now established on a divine place in natural way. In the end, let us pray, O Mother, carry us across the ocean of this world and be merciful to all. I wish all of you the best. Thank you.
हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। तू स्वर की देवी, ये संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा, ये हर गीत तुझसे। तू स्वर की देवी, ये संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा, ये हर गीत तुझसे। हम हैं अकेले, हम हैं अधूरे, तेरी शरण हम, हमें प्यार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे। ओम श्री महाकाली महालक्ष्मी महासरस्वती श्री दुर्गा मात की जय।
ॐ यथाग्निधायिका शक्तिः रामकृष्णा स्थिता हि या सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। Most revered Srimad Swami Shridananda Ji Maharaj, revered Swami Shada Prabhananda Ji Maharaj, revered Swami Swatma Ramananda Ji Maharaj, sisters, brothers, and fellow online audience, Om Namo Narayanaya. I take this opportunity to wish all our online devotees and subscribers a very happy and blessed Vijaya Dashami celebrations. I am honored to announce the speaker for today's online program is His Holiness Srimad Swami Shridananda Ji Maharaj, President of the Vedanta Center of Sydney, Australia. Most revered Maharaj is a senior monk of the Ramakrishna order and is 96 years old. Most revered Maharaj, born in Calcutta in December 1925, was educated in Calcutta and obtained a degree in mechanical engineering. He joined the Ramakrishna order in November 1947, where revered Maharaj received his initiation from Swami Virajananda Ji Maharaj, the sixth president of the Ramakrishna order. A direct disciple of Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi, Swami Virajananda Maharaj was among the first group of monks who worked along with Swami Vivekananda in establishing the Ramakrishna mission. Most revered Maharaj had the privilege of being a personal attendant to his master for 3 years until his master attained of Mahasamadhi in 1951. He served the Ramakrishna mission in various centers, including Banaras, Belur Math, Calcutta, Yangon in Myanmar, and Patna, before being deputed to Lucknow in 1954. He was the main driving force in the establishment of the Lucknow ashram and bringing to it its current eminence at its present location. He headed the Lucknow Center for 46 years till May 2000. During 2000, Most Revered Maharaj was assigned the task of establishing the Ramakrishna order in Australia. Since October 2000, he has been engaged in establishing the Mission Center in Sydney. For Swami Vivekananda, Sri Sharda Devi was the divine incarnation of Goddess Durga and Mahashakti. Wherever he referred to Mother, his expression was full of awe and reverence. Mother's grace to him was 100,000 times more valuable than Father's, and her blessings were all paramount to him. In a letter written to his brother monk Swami Shivananda in 1894, Swami Vivekananda acclaimed Mother as the living Durga, an emblem of Adya Shakti, Mahamaya, the divine source of all existence. Today, Most Revered Maharaj will address us on the topic of Sri Sharda Devi, the living Durga. I now lovingly hand you over to Most Revered Maharaj.
Welcome to you all, dears, the children of the Divine Mother. And when we address each other as the children of the Divine Mother, we accept the motherhood of the concept of the divine. Now, in our tertiary education which we receive in schools and colleges and universities, there is a process that is followed. What is that process? That process is you are told about something which is true and real. You know nothing about it. And your teacher tells you this is this. That is said to be the hypothesis. What the teacher will subsequently prove to you to be right and correct, of which initially you have no understanding whatsoever. As for instance, I often give you this example. Let me repeat that example again. That the teacher comes to you in your geometry class and he tells you, look my children, two sides of a triangle is always greater than the third side. You have no knowledge what a triangle is, what are the sides are, and what is the adding up of two sides to produce it is bigger than the third. You know nothing about it. But he draws two triangles, names each corner A, B, C, D, E, F. Then he proceeds. And he expects that you pay due attention and absorb the ideas that are emanating from his words and statements. And slowly, based on robust common sense, logic and rationality, which are our inborn faculties, he guides us step by step, and we keep on nodding, and ultimately he concludes, therefore, it is conclusively proved that two sides of a triangle is greater than the third. He first announced the truth and the reality. And then he helps you, if you follow his ideas, his flow of thought, based on robust common sense and rationality, he step by step guides you to that conclusion. And you nod your head and say, yes, I've understood it. And he says, QED, that's enough. It is exclusively proved that two sides of a triangle is greater than the third. That is how we were educated when we were in schools. Now, that very style of education applies to spiritual sciences. The very type of education. And what is known in the scriptural language? Upakramanika and Upasangha. Upakramanika is an introduction of an idea which you have no knowledge about, and therefore you are not prepared to believe it. And then slowly, the teachers of the scriptures, they develop idea one after the other, which appeals to you, and if you don't think that it is proper, you want to have a clarification, and the teachers give you a clarification, a so-called healthy debate to find out what is reality, follows, and ultimately he concludes, therefore, what I said is true. And you all nod your head. Today we have gathered here to assess and understand who is this personality who is today worldwide, widely known as the Holy Mother, the Divine Mother. That is what we know, that's what we are here. So let us follow that standard pattern of education. Sri Ramakrishna said, she is the advent of, in flesh and blood, of what is known as the motherhood of the divine. And not only he said so, he worshipped her as that and invoked in her that, oh dear, arise, awake, manifest your motherhood of the divine in its full glory, and I worship you, invoking into you that mothership of the divine, that motherhood of the divine, which is manifested through these divine qualities. What are those qualities? Softest, sweetest, most gracious, ever forbearing, ever forgiving. These qualities belong to the concept of the divine. No human is faultless. No human can raise their level of awareness to that height where it is ever forbearing, ever forgiving. And to be very, very, very careful, let us look at the lives of the various incarnations. What is this concept of an incarnation? The concept of an incarnation is the divine, that abstract concept of divine, divinity, which is an abstract concept where you have to stretch your imagination to the farthest limit to have a vague and nebulous idea. Yes, 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 the eternal, the infinite, the immutable, the everlasting beyond the scope of time, beyond the scope of space, ever true, real existence is this. Astitva, sattva, or pure existence. That is the absolute concept in this changing, transitory world. That absolute concept is beyond the reach of a common man. It is achievable, attainable, reachable, doable, more so experienceable through an inter-psychological process known as deep meditative process. And that is not given to us to be done very easily. Where do we go from here? We have been told that there is something known as absolute, and that absolute sometimes is conceived as the father of this universe, or sometimes conceived as the mother of this cosmos. You have two approaches, the fatherhood of the divine and the motherhood of the divine. And we are given a choice. That absolute can be imagined as the qualities that are inbuilt in the concept of fatherhood, that fatherhood of which I am aware from my family point of view. Let that be enlarged and extended from a universal cosmic point of view. Father of all, mother to all. And immediately we feel quite at home. Oh, motherhood of the divine. And if you go through the history of human civilization, dears, you will find a very funny approach. That is, the fatherhood of the divine, the supreme Lord God of the universe, because Father is the head of my family, His word is absolute, unquestionable, He is the supreme authority. So, in this world, we can conceive that absolute existence, the reality hidden behind the appearance, as, in a concrete manner, the Father of the universe. And that has been highlighted in Christianity. The Father of the universe, seeing His children going wayward, sends His Son to represent what is the fatherhood of the divine, who dispenses with the whole problem of the world with forgiveness, with absolute compassion and forbearance. And we see that concept of God, concept of the divine, epitomized in a human form, manifest in flesh and blood. The Son of God, the Son of Nazareth, the Son of Bethlehem. This is in history. We also find Abraham, Moses. We find Buddha. We find Shankara, Ramanuja and Muhammad. And galaxies. Their expressions in this human world teaching us how to live and to love has been epitomized in their lives, in their teachings. So the fact of life is that absolute divine does not live in isolation. He is in us all. And we, somehow or other, we have forgotten our identity. So, to find out our lost identity, to guide the shepherds back, to guide the sheep back to their home, to guide the flock back to their Maker, the Maker of this universe, the Lord God of this universe, addressed as the Father of this universe, sends His Son to carry the flock home. That is the concept, and that concept has inspired and energized millions and millions and millions of people for 2,000 years, if not more, or maybe a little less. So we find that God in Himself, though He is absolute in nature, but He has a mechanism. And what is that mechanism? The concept of eternal cosmic energy. We will understand cosmic energy. The whole world is moving and floating in energy, manifestation of energy in infinite aspects, and the energy flows. Where does it come from? It comes from the divine. The absolute concept of the divine and the phenomenal concept of the divine, where we see an endless, limitless flow of energy manifest in this cosmos. Now all these are abstractions. How do we in our limited capacity, understand that rationally, develop a feeling of oneness emotionally, and psychically identify ourselves with that. So, I be and become one with the divine, starting rationally, then reinforcing it emotionally, and finally experiencing it psychically by the management of my personality and my psyche. This is the procedure that the teachers of spiritual sciences follow, just as the teacher of material sciences do. Explains to you to start with rationally what is the reality hidden behind this perennially changeful world, transitory world, the absolute and its dynamic aspect. Absolute in its absolute aspect, and that absolute in its dynamic aspect. Sri Ramakrishna used very, very homely examples and metaphors to explain away these lofty, idealistic thoughts. He used to say three things. A snake hibernates for 3, 4, 5 months of winter. When the snake is hibernating, the snake is, but there is no activity in the snake. Snake is taken to be as dead as that, more dead than alive. That very snake, when out of hibernation, it frantically finds out food to survive, full of activity. And that snake, when it bites, kills that victim of its bite to swallow it whole. But the venom is in the snake, but the snake does not die of it. Three different concepts. A snake hibernating, a snake active, and a snake kills by its own venom, but the venom has no effect on it. It doesn't die. And the venom is in itself, in its sac, behind its fangs. Similarly, the absolute is ever existent, ever alert, ever conscious, but existent. No other words can mention it because it is without any denomination, any activity, any adjunct by means of which I can describe it. It is eternal existence, satta, astitva, a sense of existence. And that divine activates itself, kinetizes itself, creates the whole world. And having created man in his own image, tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat. A man is made in the image of God, is a statement of a denominational religion. The other statement is, he created these humans and saturated these humans with his own being. Tat srishtva, having created them, tat eva, into it, anupravishat. He saturated the whole cosmos with his own being, with his own spirit, the Holy Ghost, what is known as Atman or Brahman. These are all abstractions. Who does help me to achieve awareness of this abstraction by experiencing it, not keeping in the nut here? Not only a rational conviction, but an actualization of that rational conviction by transforming the human personality into the divine. Who teaches me that? God Himself teaches us that. How does He? He sends His messengers, He sends His prophets, He sends His Son, and He arrives. How? In a human body. Why? To manifest the divinity through that human frame and structure, through that human personality, so that we can very, very well understand what is that absolute concept of the divine, so that I see the manifestation of those absolute qualities of the divine through the behavior pattern of an ordinary divine human being, but that human being is different from us. What is the difference? Let me quote you another word. The difference is a human being does not know his past. Even the past in his own life of these very many years, much has been forgotten. And as far as the future is concerned, I do not know what will happen to me after a second. Nobody ever knows. And we are proud of our knowledge and our intelligence. That is, we are not privy to our past. We only see our present through our five sense organs, their limitations, and we know nothing about future. With this faculty, I think I know everything under the sun. Not only I know what is in your mind. I impose Antaryamita on me to me. That is what I am. But what is an incarnation of a divine? Atandra Chaitanya. He never forgets the past, the present, the future. Everything is known to me and is known as the palm of your hand. That is the distinction. And we find history proves in realistic manner people from time to time behave in such a manner as if they know all. Not only they know all, they can do anything that you can expect of them to do. They are the master of the situation. But they live like a normal human. That is the concept of the divine born in a human form. And why are they born here? They were mighty happy in the concept of heaven or in the concept of their own area of livelihood. Why are they born? What is their purpose of being born? It's nothing else but an endless compassion, seeing his children made in his own image. They have forgotten their true original reality of life, and they are behaving like ordinary biological creatures, excuse my language, behaving like beasts and animals running at each other's throat with a knife. That is the history of human civilization, more so today. So they can't contain themselves, and they, out of sheer compassion for their children, to extend an helping hand to them, they are born like normal, ordinary humans, and living like a normal, ordinary human, they manifest the extraordinary capacity of divine softness, divine sweetness, divine graciousness, forbearance and forgiving. That is the concept of an incarnation of the divine. And because, dears, we have a limited time to discuss on it, I will not like to stuff you with the details that you can have in well-authenticated books written, noted down during his lifetime and printed as books later on. It is not after 300 years of his passing away. It was written and noted down during his lifetime. So, time did not have that opportunity to allow mosses to grow on a rolling stone. It was exact, actual facts of life written. Those books are available to all of you. And I will specially recommend to you two authors. The original was written by a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, Srimad Swami Shardanandaji Maharaj, known as Leela Prasanga. That is a detailed description of the divine play in human form. Swami Chaitananandaji has translated that authenticated biography of Sri Ramakrishna into English, known as Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. If you read it just for the sake of informing yourself, I don't want to convert you to this concept that Sri Ramakrishna is an incarnation for the modern age. That is not my intention, because that is against the spirit of Sri Ramakrishna himself. So it is not my intention. But if you just want to know and understand how a normal human being, born and brought up in the most humblest of situations, just like few others, how they, through all that chill penury, lack of opening, lack of advantages, lack of options, chances were very slim, how they educated themselves to identify themselves with oneness of the divine. Whether it is the Bible, whether it is the 10 books of wisdom, 5 books of wisdom of Moses, or whether it is the Upanishads, the Gita, the Bhagavatam, or the Quran, or Jinnah, Vesta, call it by any name. They are nothing else but words of advice of the realized souls and the Son of God, in whichever denomination you think of him. They have left it behind for you to make it understandable, doable, performable, therefore achievable. This is one. The next book I want to tell you is the same author, Swami Chaitanananda, on the same lines, after deep research that Swami Gambhiranandaji, our ex-president, wrote a biography on the Holy Mother from the statements made by people who lived with the Holy Mother, We call Sri Sharda Devi our Holy Mother. And we are convinced, not because I happen to be under the fold, we are convinced because the infallible logic, the robust common sense, and the behavior pattern that she manifested in her life cannot but be possible apart from being the divine in a human form. So dears, this is the introduction to the concept of the divinity totally manifest, unrestrained in human form. Now, to cut a long story short, I will quote 2 or 3 incidents from the Holy Mother's life. And I will request you to put your thinking hats on and cogitate on it, and then, if you are interested, be properly informed for the events from her birth to her passing away, and come to your own commonsensical decision as to who she is. Now, we know through history that the world is prone to the concept of fatherhood of the divine. Father in heaven, Father to all. Most of them, the denominational religious groups, they have this concept, fatherhood of the divine. But we find from a historical point of view, as well as mythology and legends, we find whenever such an advent has taken place, that epitome of cosmic energy known as Aarti Shakti, the primordial energy, Parama Prakriti, that is, which is manifested in this nature, she is also born in like a form of a mother. But let us leave aside the legend, especially in India. In Indian tradition we see, whenever we have conceived of one aspect of the infinite aspected divine, whenever we have personalized it and we call it Shiva, in the same breath we have a concept of Shivani. Because the concept of gender has a hold on biological creatures. If we have thought of him as a father of the universe, in Indian tradition there has to be a mother along with it. I have the option of thinking of that sublime supreme entity, that sublime supreme being, as the father of the universe, or in my own way, I am more prone to my mother. I would like to conceive the divine as the mother of the universe, my mother and the mother of the universe. So in Indian spiritual tradition, whenever humans have thought of the divine as the father of the universe, in the same breath, Indian tradition has always spoken of mother of the universe. Rama accompanied by Sita, Krishna by Srimati and Radhika and Rukmini and others. Christ, mother, the safe hands of the mother, Mary the mother, mother of Son of God. Now what we find, there are two aspects. One aspect is the concept of monasticism and celibacy. Why? All the energy that this biological entity generates within itself, that energy should never, never, never be dissipated to any other direction but one pointed direction to reach the goal of life, to know who am I, who is God, and what is the relation between me and my God. So we find there are incarnations who chose to remain celibate throughout their lives. Christ and Shankara. Others were accompanied by their primordial energy known as Aarti, Shakti, Paramaprakriti, Sita, Radha, Mary the Mother, and so on. Now, dears, in this present age, we humans, with our so-called intelligence and penetrative understanding, we have made our life a total mess. And we are happy. Though we are being kicked around, still we are happy. That is all that I know about happiness. I have never tasted that divine ecstatic joy. I have never tasted that tranquility, serenity, equanimity, and that ecstatic divine joy in my life. So I do not know about it. As because I do not know about it, I say I know everything, and this is the way of life and living. Swinging like a pendulum between pleasure and pain. And I enjoy myself. But there are occasions when we are woken up and we say, what am I doing with my life? That is the starting point, dear, when the questioning and quest starts for a better way of life and living. And who will teach you? One that is destined, ordained to teach you, the Divine Mother of the universe, with the motherhood as a most important instrument. And what is motherhood? Incomparable love and graciousness, softness and forgiveness, and eternal forbearance for the child. So when this time it was required that an incarnation be born, and it is the divine who decides, I will be born over and over and over again to establish the rule of spiritual life in this world. Rules of the game of life and living. So he decides. And he decides to fulfill the requirements of his age. The age in which he is born and the age he foresees. He is born much before his time. In this advent of Sri Ramakrishna, and I am subject to correction, provided after thorough study of that authenticated biography, you come to that conclusion or not. I am not going to force you. But I, with all my little understanding and humility, I can tell you, I couldn't have been anywhere else but at his lotus feet. Because I am convinced, I have glimpses of him, that he is an incarnation of the divine for the present age. What is the requirement of the present age here? The requirement of the present age is, firstly, the advent of material science has been so strong lately. They have the capacity to prove within your limits of perception of five sense organs, to demonstrate the reality of fundamental truths and sciences that they have, to their rationality, achieved. They saw fruits, when ripened, they don't go upward, they fall down. They only saw perceptual observation. From that perceptual observation, they developed by analysis and analytical faculty, conceptual knowledge, the force of gravitation. That is a conceptual knowledge based on perceptual observation. And they prove what they fundamentally established as a theory. Electricity is a concept. And that concept has been practicalized in this manner. You can't deny the existence of electricity. Does the spiritual scientist have any such methods and means that he proves the existence of God on a platter? This is the modern age. If it is perceptible by my five sense organs, all of them or any one of them, I will believe you. Your concept of God is a woolly-headed idea, you can't demonstrate it, and your concept of God is an opium for the masses so that you can exploit them. That is what it is. So, this present age needs the rehabilitation to rehabilitate the lost relevance of spiritual wisdom, that God is and it can be experienced and realized, but not through your perception, but through your intuitive experience, aparoksha anubhuti. We say, I have a direct knowledge of you. Why? I am seeing your face. So I say, you know, I know you exist. What happens to a blind man? You call it direct knowledge. The blind man either believes you when you say, I am here, or the blind man goes and touches you. Then he says, yes, I feel you are. That is not direct. Your knowledge is dependent on the efficiency of your visual organ. Therefore, it is indirect knowing. But I am is a direct knowledge. I need nobody's help to be aware I am. I exist. And that conviction is sasanvedya chaitanya na paroksha anubhuti. I don't need my eyes, my ears, and etc. A blind man says I am. A deaf man says I am. Even on the point of dying, when all my faculties are retiring, I say I am dying. I am going through a process known as dying. I am. I am comes first, other experiences consequently follow. It was left to Sri Ramakrishna himself in that human form to re-establish the lost credibility, the lost veracity, the lost relevance of the concept of presence of the divine in our lives. That is why he was born. And to establish that, he had to manage his personality in such a manner that the slightest trace of ego, separateness from the absolute, was not acceptable. It could not happen. So, the spiritual ecstasies that you find in Sri Ramakrishna, which you, when you read that authenticated book, you will find that spiritual excellence had to be achieved in this body-mind complex where the ego does not exist. It has totally merged, and he chose to conceive of that absolute as his mother, mother of the universe. He was one with the absolute in the form of mother of the universe. No trace of separateness could have established that. And the words that flew out of his mouth, the words that he uttered at that stage, is the essential teaching of all denominational religions in the world the humankind has produced since dawn of the history or dawn of civilization. And he ended there. His life, though he is a leader of it, but he had this body specially purified to establish the lost veracity, the lost credibility, the lost relevance of God in our lives. And the next, if you have to be a world teacher, there has to be a slightest amount of ego of being a teacher. Sri Ramakrishna in his life could not afford that luxury. So he had to take another form in the form of Swami Vivekananda, his dear child Narendranath, who will be the teacher of the world. Naren desh bideshe hath padbe, Naren lok shikha dibe. These are the typical words that Sri Ramakrishna prophesied when that young boy in his teens came to see him. He will be the teacher of the humankind, and he will move around the world carrying a message with a stentorian voice. So, in this age, there is one descent. Avataratva is one. And to meet the requirements of the challenges of the modern age, he had to take 3 different human forms. He in himself, his messenger, his mouthpiece to the world, his child Narendranath, and finally his so-called divine consort, Sri Sharada Devi. And we are here today to celebrate her birth anniversary. Now, who is she? Sri Sharada Devi was born in an equal humble origin as the matchless master. And as I would tell you, dear, there are 2 books that I will request you, if you are interested, if you want to open up your eyes, if you want to educate yourself in spiritual matters which will lead you to oneness with God, please kindly, seriously, intently study these 2 books. And both of them have been translated in English. One written in English, the others translated from Bengali by the same author, Swami Gambhirananda Ji. The life of the Holy Mother, Sri Sharada Devi, author Swami Gambhirananda. And as a sister edition, Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play by Swami Chaitanananda, the Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi and her divine play by Chaitanananda. These are the twin editions of the same author, and that author had depended on well-researched material from the eyewitnesses and people who lived with them, which Swami Gambhirananda did not spare pains to research and eliminate all legends and myths and establish the real representation of the character and personality of Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi. Now, what is the essence of that? Why did he bring her along? He brought her along and left her alone for 34 long years of widowhood. When mother was a young lady, he left her behind to mother this organization, of which we are so proud of, the organization which has spread out to almost all corners of the world except in certain areas. It will be invaded in due course of time. It's time that matters. What has she to do? To convey to you that there is a softer, sweeter, more gracious way of being one with God. Whenever we think of being one with God, that old traditional value of austerity, of celibacy, of this, of that, running away from this mad world, living in the hills and cages, and doing this and doing that, and yoga and pranayama and asana, all sorts of things invade us because these are the century-old traditions which goes along with spiritual life. Sri Ramakrishna wanted to make it very easy and elemental. And she used to say, what a matchless master I have, or I had. He taught me how to place a wick in a lamp. You know, in old days, oil lamps, and out of cotton little threads were made and soaked in it and kept properly, that oil doesn't consume much. At the same time, light is good enough. That was an art, to place a wick on a lamp. She used to say, what a matchless husband I had. He taught me how to do these common things of life. And at the same time, he taught me how to be one with the absolute Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That was the range of mother's education from her matchless husband. From the daily course of life to being one with the divine Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This is the Holy Mother's life. And if you read her life, and if you absorb those ideas, all those woolly-headed ideas regarding spirituality, spiritual disciplines, and all sorts of, excuse my words, utter stupidity will disappear and vanish from your mind, and you will find out a right royal highway to spiritual wisdom by following basic instructions of our life. But how do I say she is so Sri Ramakrishna understood that if a little support is not extended by him, the world will not accept her because it's a male-dominated society. So what did he do, you know? He worshipped his married wife, the divine consort, though the marriage was never consummated. There was a marriage of the soul, as it were. On a very auspicious day, when the motherhood of the divine is worshipped in all corners of Bengal, on that auspicious day at the midnight and a new moon night, which is said to be an auspicious, and a Saturday night, he worshipped this lady, 17 years younger to her, and he worshipped as that form of the Divine Mother of the universe, where she's known as Tripura Sundari Shodashi. Mother conceived as a 16-year-old lady and absolutely pure, representing these 5 aspects of the divinity: softness, sweetness, graciousness, ever forbearing, ever forgiving, the motherhood of the divine. This is a concept in our old scriptures. Sri Ramakrishna put her on a pedestal, just as if she's worshipping the Divine Mother of the universe in a temple. He converted bedroom into a temple for that night. And only one person was a witness, and none else. Nobody else knew. And he invoked in her this aspect of motherhood of the divine, known as Tripura Sundari Shodashi. Mother in a blossoming form, where she emanates these 5 divine qualities. And people asked the mother later on, how could you take it, mother? You are so bashful, you are so modest, your matchless husband, at that time accepted by the section of the society as an incarnation, and he fell fat at your feet, touched your feet and worshipped you. How could you take it? How could you stomach it? Her mother said very innocently, I do not know what happened to me, but that's a fact of life I cannot deny. And thereafter, he invoked and said, now live in this world and prove to the world who you are, the aspect of divinity, the motherhood of the divine, the concept of divine as a mother to all of us. I will not take much of your time, dears, but I really want you to be interested, to at least widen your field of information. After you are well informed, do whatever you like, I am not bothered. But you will be mesmerized if you read that life. And she was left behind by Sri Ramakrishna with an instruction that the people of this world, they are really roaming around aimlessly, madlessly, rolling in agony and misery. Please try to help them out. And she did so for the last 34 years of her life, single-handedly. And I'll conclude with 2 of her very famous sayings. A saying that was publicized all over the world on the Holy Mother's but centenary year. It is the essence of Upanishads. It is the essence of all religious faith and denominational teachings. Essence. What is that? I'm translating it to you in English, maybe a little deviation here and there. Read it for yourself. If you know Bengali language, good enough. Otherwise, it's available in all regional languages of India, and more so the universal language, English. If you want peace, my dear children, this is how it starts. Don't see faults in others. If you are habituated in seeing faults because of your past samskaras, see fault in yourself. When you see fault in others, you become full of fault. That is how you project it on the others. You are dirtying yourself first. To understand the dirt in others. It is psychologically correct. If I am not aware of what hypocrisy is, and I am aware what hypocrisy is because I am a hypocrite, and then I see hypocrisy in others. I dirty myself first, then I see the dirt elsewhere. He says, if you want peace, my dear children, educate yourself not to see fault in others. If you do have the habit of seeing so, see fault in yourself and correct yourself. Then she says, in the same vein, love the whole world. You are the essence of the whole world. And by love make the whole world your own. Let there be nothing known as other than me. I am everywhere. Abhayam sarva bhuteshu matta sarvam pravartate. This is our Upanishadic teaching. What does it say? I assure the whole world. No harm will come to any one of you from me because I know I am everywhere. Love this world as your own. Make it your own by deep abiding sense of affection. That is the secret of oneness with the spiritual oneness of the world. The ultimate goal of all religions, all denominational beliefs, to be one with God. This is what the Holy Mother said. What does it mean? It means she has collected the whole world of spiritual wisdom and explained to you in such a homely language and manner that you can transform yourself into a spiritual giant without being a scholar, without being an academician, or without having high-flown intellect. You can manage your head and heart together, convert your personality from egocentric human to the divine-centric divine, and be one with God. And then, as an assurance, a mother's assurance, it was just before her passing away, a lady who was not acceptable to the society because of the faults and mistakes that she made in her life. But she was very, very dear and close to my Holy Mother, our Holy Mother. She was in tears and she said, "Oh dear Mother, what will happen to me when you are no more? The world will kick me around. What will happen to me?" And you know what Mother said? Just like a physical mother, of spiritual standing. When you will find my dear child, that's what he said in quotes, when you will find my dear child, there is no one called your own in this world. Everybody rejects you, detests you, hates you. Know for certain you have a mother to care for you and look after you. I will always be there to protect you. Who can say so, dear, but the Mother of the universe? To all and sundry, I will be there, I am there always to help you. And if the whole world kicks at you, know for certain you have a mother to care for you. What an assurance, what a comforting statement that I have a mother. Let us develop that feeling that whether she is in this form, in other forms of motherhood, in the Puranas, in the etc., Sita, Radha, Mata Mary, Mother Mary, whatever it is, we know for certain in this world of ours, I have a mother to look after me, to care for me, to protect me, and to guide me, to lead me to my desired goal, to be one with God. So, dears, get rid of all such woolly-headed ideas. Know for certain we have a mother. And that mother is everlasting and mother to all. Let us crave her blessings, let us seek her guidance, and make our life full of divine ecstatic joy. With these prayers, dear, I take leave of you, and my last request is, please kindly get hold of these two books and read it from cover to cover. Don't read it as a fiction or a novel. Read it as a book where each and every word will inspire you spiritually. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you. Now, after a while, the prasad is ready for you. Please enjoy yourselves. Thank you. May the Divine Mother protect us, guide us, help us, and lead us to the cherished land where life is nothing else but an endless divine ecstatic joy. That is my prayer on this auspicious day for all of us, including me. Thank you.
Namo Narayani.
Namo Narayani.
Namo Narayani.
Namo Narayani.
Saradamani.
Sharadamani.
Saradamani.
Sharadamani.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Bhakta Hridi Vilasini.
Bhakta-hridi vilasini.
Namo Narayani.
Namo Narayani.
Patita Pavani.
Patita Pavani.
Premarupini.
Premarupini.
Tritapaharini.
Tritapaharini.
Shantidaini.
Shantidaini.
Tritapaharini.
Tritapaharini.
Shantidaini.
Shantidaini.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Bhakta Hridi Vilasini.
Bhakta-hridi vilasini.
Namo Narayani.
Namo Narayani.
Bhakti Kamini.
Bhakti-kamini.
Nanakarini.
Gnanakarini.
Anandavarshini.
Anandavarshini.
Muktidaini.
Muktidaini.
Anandavarshini.
Anandavarshini.
Vimuktidaini.
Vimuktidaini.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Bhakta Hridi Vilasini.
Bhakta-hridi vilasini.
Namo Narayani. Namo Narayani.
Namo Narayani.
Patita Pavani.
Patita Pavani.
Prema Rupini.
Prema Rupini.
Tritapaharini.
Tritapaharini.
Shantidayini.
Shantidayini.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Bhakta Hridi Vilasini.
Bhakta-hridi vilasini.
Namo Narayani.
Namo Narayani.
Bhakti Kamini.
Bhakti Kamini.
Nanakarini.
Jnanakarini.
Anandavarshini.
Anandavarshini.
Muktidayini.
Muktidayini.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini.
Shri Ramakrishna Sangini. Shri Ramakrishna Sangini. Shri Ramakrishna Sangini. Shri Ramakrishna Sangini. ऐश्वर्य समस्तवाञ्छितकरी काशीपुराधीश्वरी भिक्षां देहि कृपावलम्बनकरी मातान्नपूर्णेश्वरी कैलासाचलकन्दरालयकरी गौरी उमाशङ्करी कौमारी निगमार्थ गोचरकरी ओङ्कारबीजाक्षरी मोक्षद्वारकपाटपाटनकरी काशीपुराधीश्वरी मोक्षद्वारकपाटपाटनकरी काशीपुराधीश्वरी भिक्षां देहि कृपावलम्बनकरी मातान्नपूर्णेश्वरी दृश्यदृश्यप्रभूतवाहनकरी ब्रह्माण्डभाण्डोदरी लीलानाटकसूत्रभेदनकरी विज्ञानदीपङ्कुरी श्रीविश्वेश मनःप्रसादनकरी काशीपुराधीश्वरी श्रीविश्वेश मनःप्रसादनकरी काशीपुराधीश्वरी भिक्षां देहि कृपावलम्बनकरी मातान्नपूर्णेश्वरी 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 अन्नपूर्णे सदा पूर्णे शङ्कर प्राणवल्लभे ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यर्थं भिक्षां देहि च पार्वती माता मे पार्वती देवी पिता देवो महेश्वरः बान्धवा शिवभक्ताश्च स्वदेशो भुवनत्रयम् बान्धवा शिवभक्ताश्च स्वदेशो भुवनत्रयम् Now we are coming to the last day of our Navaratri program, Vijayadashmi. Now we are going to see the Aarti and also the Pushpanjali, and then there will be the Visarjana, the immersion of Divine Mother. So I'm very happy that all of you have come to view that. Thank you. Namaste. Please let us all go to see the Aarti of Divine Mother.
जयंती मंगला काली भद्रकाली कपालिनी दुर्गा शिवा क्षमाधात्री स्वाहा स्वधा नमोस्तुते एष सचंदन पत्र पुष्पांजलि ओम दक्षयज्ञ विनाशिन्यै महाघोरायै योगिनी कोटि परिवृतायै भद्रकाल्यै ह्रीं ओं दुर्गायै नमः। ओम सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सृष्टि स्थिति विनाशानां शक्तिभूते सनातनी गुणाश्रये गुणमये नारायणी नमोस्तुते। शरणागत दीनार्थ परित्राण परायणे सर्वस्यारति हरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। प्रणतानां प्रसीदत्वं देवी विश्वारति हारिणी त्रैलोक्य वासिनां ईड्ये लोकानां वरदा भव। ओम यथाग्नेर दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्या स्वरूपांगतां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। जय श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय। जय महामाई की जय। जय स्वामी जी महाराज जी की जय। जय गंगा माई की जय। जय श्री श्री दुर्गा माई की जय। जय श्री श्री चामुंडा माई की जय।
योगिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। हरि ओम तत्सत्। बोलो जय श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। जय श्री महामाय की जय। जय श्री स्वामी जी महाराज की जय। ओम नमो
Om Namo Narayanaya. Sisters and brothers, sadly, we have come to the end of today's Vijayadashami program. We thank you all for joining us in today's program and pray you have taken benefit from the 9-night long Navaratri celebrations. We place on record our sincere thanks and appreciation to all the accomplished speakers for their truly uplifting spiritual discourses. Most revered Srimad Swami Gautamananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the Divine Mother. Revered Swami Bodhasarananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the glory of the Divine Mother. Most revered Swami Sridharananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the living Durga, Sharda Devi. Revered Swami Sarda Prabhananda Ji Maharaj for the special Navaratri message. Revered Swami Dayatmananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the significance of the Durga Sapta Shati. Revered Swami Nityastananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the significance of Shakti Puja. Revered Swami Sarvastananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the significance of Durga Puja in the Ramakrishna movement. Revered Swami Atma Shraddhananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the mystery of mother worship. Revered Swami Ganeshananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the significance of Navaratri. Revered Swami Jnana Sudhananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the Divine Mother and her worship. Revered Swami Mangalanathananda Ji Maharaj for the talk on the mystery of mother worship. We further place on record our sincere thanks and appreciation to all the musicians for their exhilarating renditions. On day 1, Sri Krishna Pushkara Music Foundation. Director Dr. Uday Raj Karpur, flute by Kamal Gowda and tabla by Master Pradyumna Karpur and Master Shrikar Chaturvedi. On day 2, flute recital by Nagaraj Hegade. On day 3, Veena recital by Srimati Vidushi Malini Ramesh, accompanied on Mridangam by Shri Vidwan Anand KC. On day 4, sitar recital by Vidushi Jyoti Sham, accompanied on the tabla by Shri Guru Nandan Gopinath. On day 5, clarinet recital by Dr. Pandit and Narasimhalu Vadavati. On day 6, Shri Krishna Pushkara Music Foundation, Director Dr. Uday Raj Kapoor, classical tabla recital by Master Pradyumna Kapoor, accompanied on harmonium by Vidwan Surya Upadhyay. On day 7, flute recital by Nagaraj Hegade. And on day 8, a jugalbandi between the clarinet, saxophone and flute by Dr. Pandit Narasimhalu Vadavati, Kadri Gopalanath and Praveen Godkindi. The Johannesburg Sub-Center hosts the following classes conducted by Swami Swatmaramananda. On Monday evenings from 6 p.m. is the Science of Worship class. On Tuesdays from 6 p.m. is the Viveka Chudamani classes. Classes on the Bhagavad Gita are held on Wednesdays and Saturdays from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Morning classes on life stories of household disciples of Sri Ramakrishna are held on Thursdays, Fridays, Sundays and Monday mornings from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. On Thursday afternoons from 3:30 p.m. is the Jnana Yoga class. On Friday evenings from 6 p.m. is the online Vedanta study taken from the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. On behalf of revered Swami Swatmaramananda Ji Maharaj and officials of the Johannesburg Sub-Center, we humbly thank you for joining us in today's Vijayadashami program and look forward to your company for the next online program. Om Namo Narayanaya.